All right, welcome back. Kiyamo's warning Nigerians on hate speech after Charlie Kirk murder. Murder rather. So I'm gonna read this a small report here on Punch Nigeria. Apparently, Mr. Keyamo, former Minister of Aviation and Aerospace, I think he's still former Minister
Oh, the
of Aviation.
it's still the minister.
He's
It's
still
the
the
serving
Minister.
minister
Okay. The serving
of
Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development.
mm-hmm.
Festus Keyamo on Saturday warned that reckless statements and online attacks in Nigerian political space could trigger violence. His caution came on the heels of the murder of American conservative commentator Charlie Kirk,
Oh,
who was shot dead in Arizona. Who was shot dead in Utah uh, on Thursday outside a public event. The 31-year-old Kirk founded the right-wing organization Turning Point USA, and his killing has sparked debate in the United States about rising political extremism and threats against public figures. Keyamo, in a post on his X handle, said the killing should serve as a sober lesson as it underscored the dangers of toxic political exchanges. And I quote, the condemnable murder of Charlie Kirk in America holds a significance for us in Nigeria. The things we say and post in our intellectual contestations over political issues in our country can unwittingly rile other ups to take extreme actions. Let us therefore eschew threats of violence, bigotry, and hate speeches in these exchanges because anyone can end up as a victim, he said. Keyamo further stressed that resorting to insult, threats, and intimidation in political debate was not a sign of strength, but of weakness. It is extreme cowardice to threaten, abuse, or humiliate others who do not agree with your political views or do not worship your political demigods. A resort to abuse or threats or even personal attacks is a sign that you have lost the intellectual contestations. You cannot force others in a free democracy to accept your point of view through threats of violence and intimidation, the minister said. He clarified that his message was not targeted at a particular party or group, but a general call across Nigeria political divides. Keyamo said Nigeria must learn for such incidents and avoid creating an atmosphere where heated rhetoric could lead to tragedy. And I'm looking at some other. I want to read a couple of comments to you, and then I'll let you go with your commentary, sir. Somebody asked, "Was Charlie given hate speech, sir?" Asking Keyamo. Somebody said, "You are indirectly blaming the victim. No one should be killed for an opinion different from yours." All right.
I did not. I did not. Yama has blamed them.
Yeah,
Charlie Kirk.
that's why I was laughing. So somebody says something happened for USA. You did caution us for here. You did think. So I
Yes.
said, let me tell us about Nepal. Somebody says, seriously, I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed going through some people's comments. Goodness, majority of you all didn't even know who this guy was, hadn't listened to any of his podcasts or rallies, and so don't even understand what this is about. And someone took it upon himself to advise on the need to debate our political views respectfully without violence and see what my fellow Nigerian youths are saying. Omar Sheo. Another one says Charlie stood for what was and still right. Using him as a reference point here is cowardice. Somebody said, just see what SAN, San, Con, Olodo. All right.
Whatever.
Go ahead, sir.
Right. Let's take it from there. Number one, regrettable as it may be, let's commiserate with all Americans at this moment concerning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then he was taken down while addressing a 3,000 or estimated 3,000 capacity gathering at Utah Valley University, UVU, in the state of Utah. And I mean, fortunately, that is where you are presently, Ola. And I think the crime scene itself is just about 45 minutes away from your base right there. So everybody in America is taken aback at this moment because it's almost like the years of the locust in the United States, when all the good things about America was going to be eroded by all kinds of tension, whether racial, whether the tension about the war in Vietnam in the late 60s, and the civil rights movement of that dispensation. It's almost like things have become so worse. However, I must thank Minister Festus Keyamo for that piece of advice to Nigerians. If we must put it in proper perspective, he has not said that Charlie Kirk was, saying things that really. What did he call that will go for hate speech? However, that is an argument that some people would readily embrace. That there were some comments by the late Kirk that may not really be too comforting to all political sides in the American project. Because
and not just Kirk, sir, even the people that opposed him. So this was just him stating the obvious.
Obvious. So I think what he's trying to say is similar to what the literary sage in Nigeria, Professor Wole Soyinka, used to caution about intemperate language and holding back from heating up the polity. There is nothing that Festus Keyamo has said that is far from there. However, while we embrace the message, sometimes too, and as we try to say that the messenger may not even be at fault, sometimes the Festus Keyamo himself has been caught in this kind of entanglement and web of eight commentaries in the past. For example, at the peak of the 2023 presidential election in Nigeria, you remember Festus Keyamo threatening, well, it's now going to be propaganda for propaganda and all kinds of stuff that
aura for aura.
Yes. So and maybe lie for lie and all those things. But that is Festus Keyamo for you. Everybody has a moment of epiphany. Yes, after all, if Saul, who later became Saul of Tarsus, who later became Apostle Paul, could have a dramatic encounter on the way to Damascus, and later became somebody who had been killing people for bearing witness to the way, and Jesus Christ now became the greatest champion for propagation of the gospel. Anything can happen. So I congratulate Festus Keyamo for being for having this kind of encounter. It may be spiritual, it may be otherwise, whatever is responsible for whatever stance he has taken. We congratulate him. However, how did America get to where it is? And everybody, even this morning, you have heard that Vice President J.D. Vance has been threatening to launch after what he called the nest, or all the people, almost, turning into a theory of some domestic terrorist wing that are of the left leaning in the America that must be scuttled, that must be taken down, and all that. Meanwhile, in this same country, we know that up to
so it's threatening crackdown on liberal groups.
This is just it.
It's the same problem.
It's almost becoming an excuse for really unleashing what you would call extreme government crackdown on all kinds of dissent. So about 75 to 80 million Democrats in America may also be facing some risk now. So it's almost like using the unfortunate death. In the first place, we are not realizing that this young man who got caught down in cold blood at the age of 31 had not even fulfilled his manifest destiny optimally, yet it's gone that way. We mourn him. We are saddened about what has happened. But people who also really, because if somebody is talking of hate speech, look at the take of before now, every American president, whenever there is this kind of tragedy, whenever there was this kind of tragedy, every past American president would try to use it as a point, as a rallying point of bringing every American together so that we could really envision a better situation, a better pathway for the country. In the case of Donald Trump, what has he done? He's been talking of righteous, evil, left-wing this and left-wing that. And really, if you live in this America, all these people who got caught between red and blue, between right and left, they are not far apart from each other. I do not know of any real dyed-in-the-wool American socialist or dyed-in-the-wool. Virtually every American, whether Democrat or Republican, are capitalists. But when it comes to ramming it down the throat of a majority of us who do not really have that awareness or that education, that kind of enlightenment, what do we get? People get called all kinds, get labeled and they're called all kinds of names. So the people who really took us where we are now, this avoidable killing of the young men, they have not stopped at it. They haven't stopped at it. And you look at the list until this one that has targeted Charlie Kirk. How about those, Democrats? Are you talking of the attempt on the life of Nancy Pelosi, the former speaker? The breaking of the skull of her husband in an attempt to kill him, or the bombing of what's it called? The mansion of the governor of Pennsylvania, Democrat. The killing of Democrats, members of the assembly in the state of Minnesota recently. All sides, either Republican or whatever. But let me say this. I think Republicans now have their moment of producing somebody they love to beatified and ultimately proclaim a saint in the hick of Martin Luther. The Democrats or what have you, the liberals in this country had Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
So not to cut you short, I want to read some things to you because of our Nigerian audience. I want to read some things to you. This is not to. It's just to add some humanity into the overall political conversations. It's just a cautionary tale. That's what we're trying to say. I want to read, first of all, before I read some of the quotes from Charlie Kirk to you, I want to read one last comment from a Nigerian to you, right? Somebody said, but the thing you guys do with public fund cannot unwittingly rile us up to take extreme action, manipulators. That person is saying that to Keyamo. But you've also highlighted that Keyamo is not innocent himself, but I guess it's still a good message, right? But here's some for Nigerians. Okay, I nobody's trying to rile anybody up now. The point here is that this is a cautionary tale that everybody should tread lightly or carefully when we're talking about politics on race. And I quote, "If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified." This was something that Charlie Kirk said on the January 23rd, 2024. He also said, if you're a WNBA, pot-smoking, black lesbian, do you get treated better than a United States Marine. These are some of the quotes from him. Another one said, happening all the time in urban America. Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. It's happening more and more. Another one says, if I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who is a moronic black woman, I wonder if she's there because of her excellence or if she's there because of affirmative action. Does he deserve what happened? No, not by any stretch.
Does not deserve it. However,
Yeah.
for all these insidious things and incendiary statements credited to him, may God forgive him.
Exactly.
And probably he didn't know better. And I hope he understands that there is no mistake in whatever God really created. So I don't think there's any.
So I just wanted to put that out there for our Nigerian people because he wrapped everything I just said, sir. So sorry. Everything I just said, he found he was a very good debater. He was a very good speaker. He found a way to wrap them up in Christ, and I think that's where a lot of Nigerians are stuck.
And really, Nigerians ought to be very careful because this Jesus Christ mercantilism, the way people have turned Jesus Christ to what Jesus was not. Just read Jesus Christ in his own words. Learn to amplify those words and live by them. And then you will understand that Jesus had no place for hate. He had no place for bigotry. He had no place for violent killing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a good way to wrap that up. Thank you. All right. We have some other trendy stories around the world. Shout out to Natu in the chat. I'll be right back.
Hello, Natu.